solution for Microsoft Teams. We are scheduled to finish at 10:15, but we'll hang around after the call if you do have any further questions. And if you have any questions in the meantime, please use the live chat function, and you should see that chat icon in the bottom left-hand corner. The session will be recorded in case you're struggling to see the screen or anything, and we'll circulate the link afterwards. And I will now hand over to Nick, who will take you through the rest of the Digital Digest. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Rob. And hi, everyone. I'm Nick Stanich. I'm a channel sales engineer at 8x8. And this is a session on what 8x8 is doing for Teams, or 8x8 Voice for Microsoft Teams. So from the, as you know, Microsoft Teams has been the fastest growing enterprise collaboration tool or application across the globe, especially with the times that with Corona and everything else. And a lot of the companies have taken on Microsoft as their primary application for unified communications. Having said that, Microsoft obviously as a great application has been doing a great job for most of the companies, but when it comes to telephony or things that or topics that we are going to talk about, there are certain gaps that we are seeing from our customers, from customers that are taking on Microsoft Teams, and some of the market research suggests exactly the same. So there are certain things when we are talking about the gaps there. So we're talking mostly about the enterprise level telephony, where a vast majority of the users or companies that are using Microsoft Teams for unified communications or internal communications are using third-party companies for their PSTN breakouts or their telephony features of that set of applications. What 8x8 is doing all about that is we decided to complement Teams, and we are providing additional values for Microsoft Teams or for users that are using that application, and we will talk about them in the next few minutes. But most importantly, we are filling in those gaps as well when it comes to the telephony piece. How do we do it? Well, we do it through something called Cloud Sync. Essentially, direct routing for voice is the technology that we are using for that integration, but also Cloud Sync encompasses the usage of APIs for provisioning, easy provisioning of the users for Teams, as that can be a great challenge, especially for the bigger the enterprise is, the bigger the challenge would be. On top of that, we are keeping the two systems completely separate. The Teams environment is independent of the 8x8 environment, which basically means that in cases of failure of the Teams platform, 8x8 is still up and running, and you will be able to use all of the features that you are using through the Microsoft Teams interface. When we are talking about Cloud Sync, we are talking about that easy provisioning, right? So for in vast majority of cases, provisioning SBCs, provisioning the SIP trunks, provisioning the users for each one of the end customers can be a very tedious task. We are providing a mutual interface for one. So you will see on both sides the users from 8x8, the users from Teams. And with our integrations into Active Directory and APIs that we are sharing with Microsoft, we are able to automatically sync a user when provisioned within 8x8 configuration manager, and basically search the Teams environment for the user with exactly the same username, email, or first name and last name. You'll see on the screen now that we are opening that configuration manager. And once we fill in the basic information about the user, now whether that's passed on through the Active Directory or not, we will, upon assigning the license, have a Teams integration straight away, and we have the option to enable it or disable it. So that's as far as the complexity of the provisioning actually goes, and that is the true benefit of having a integration to 8x8. On top of that easy provisioning, we are talking about 5 pillars where 8x8 is providing additional value and filling in the gaps where Microsoft Teams doesn't have that capability to serve the customers that are already invested in Teams or are about to make that investment. First of all, we can talk about the enterprise telephony. 8x8's core business historically has been the enterprise telephony, and is doing a really great job at providing that for their customers, whereas Microsoft Teams is not that versed in that sector yet. We are talking mostly about dial plans, providing the PSTN access in 38 countries, DDIs in over 120 countries. We are talking about PSTN breakouts and being localized for the particular country that your branch or the company or the customer may be. We are also talking about the security of those communications, and 8x8 certainly has a track record of showing that we are taking security very seriously, especially with all the certifications that we oblige to every year, and also the amount of customers or highly secure customers that we have in our portfolio. We're also talking about the integrations. When we talk about the integrations, and I'll show you what integrations we do have, but Microsoft Teams, while they have done a great job making an application that will provide that communication between the users, the integration part for Microsoft Teams is very niche. So essentially, the only integration that Microsoft Teams is providing for the CRMs is the collaboration with Microsoft Dynamics, and that Microsoft Dynamics piece is purely a click to dial and screen pop. What 8x8 is doing is we are bringing all of our 27 integrations that come natively to Microsoft Teams, and on the screen now you can see on the left hand side the Salesforce piece, which pops open the record after receiving a phone call to a Microsoft Teams interface. So that's on the incoming call. We are also able to leave a call log after the phone call has finished. So we can log that call, leave the call recording link in there, have the quick to dial, customize those integrations, and those integrations can be done not just for Salesforce, but for multitude of applications out there, whether that be CRMs, whether that be your operational applications like Outlook, like G Suite, like ID management as Okta or OneLogin. Really a vast spectrum of applications that we can use. Analytics is also something that 8x8 is providing on top of our integration. So having all those KPI analytics or statistics for your agents, regardless of whether they be a unified communications or a contact center user, is really a key to any business, given that those businesses will be either a sales team's KPIs, customer service KPIs, SLAs, and so on and so forth. When we are talking about the contact center, we are talking about really in-depth analytics that 8x8 still provides, even though the customers are using Teams interfaces. Which brings me probably to our last pillar, which is a contact center integrations. With contact center integrations, we are obviously bringing to light all of the advanced features and functionalities, such as skill-based routing, advanced IVRs, maybe biometric IVRs, customer journey reports, speech analytics, quality management, and all of that good stuff from that any contact center would benefit from. And all of that is done with receiving phone calls to Teams interface. Now, there will be some sessions about a contact center and actually each one of these 5 topics, but as an overview, I will show you how that looks like from the licensing perspective. So if we are talking about Microsoft and bringing telephony to life with Microsoft Teams, that's certainly possible, and there is no doubt that that there will be businesses out there that will that the infrastructure from Microsoft Teams will satisfy the needs of those businesses. However, if you take a look at the diagram on the screen, at the very top, you can see that we have a customer with E4 to from E1 to E4 licensing. For them to enable a phone system license, they will need a phone system license add-on. They will also need an audio conferencing license. On top of that, we will pay for calling plans. That will require a premise SBC, SIP trunks plus minutes for those dial plans. And on top of that, if you're using a contact center within that, you will need a third-party provider on top. Not to go through each one of these scenarios, but if you take a look at the bottom line here from the company that has E1 to E4, will simply enable the phone system license and add an X license from 8x8 on top of that and get the full functionality of each one of these lines above. How that's structured in 8x8? Well, simply if you have E1 to E4, you will need the phone system license in order to have an add-on for 8x8. However, if any of your customers or yourselves have E5 licenses, you will be able to add 8x8 add-on straight away, as the phone system licensing is already enabled for you. I will wrap up with that, and here are some key takeaways from this session. As Rob mentioned, we will record this session and share this video after it. And yeah, thank you for your time. And Rob, I will hand over back to you.
Thank you, Nick. Very well done. Getting that done in 15 minutes. So it's 10:15. We did say we just keep you for the 15 minutes. I can't see any questions that have come through, but I do know that with a couple of you at least, we have actually got follow-up meetings arranged anyway. So we look forward to speaking to those who've got meetings arranged with in the next week or two. We are going to hang around on the webinar for an extra few minutes if anybody does wish to have a further discussion. But if not, feel free, obviously, to drop off now. And I will thank you for attending. Big thanks to Nick from 8x8 for obviously running this session this morning. And please make sure you follow us, Every Cloud UK and 8x8 UK on LinkedIn, and you'll keep receiving relevant information to your businesses. Thank you and have a good